All right, today I am going to teach you how I cut a Mohawk. I'm starting with the Colton King Tonic. It's a really good cutting lotion. It also helps with hair growth, and it also slightly conditions the hair as well. I'm parting the radial section from the front to the back, and then I'm going to do a profile section, and I'm going to cut it to the desired length. I'm keeping it a little bit longer in the front, and I'm pulling it straight up so we can have a nice square line back there. With Mohawks, I really like the way that it can just be messy and you don't really have to worry about the cowlick, because that's kind of how the Mohawks look textured and really cool, is when the cowlick isn't doing what the cowlick wants to do. It's just sticking up and being messy, and it can be part of that textured look for the client. So I'm just taking sections like a 1/2 inch each time, doing the profile and doing the sections. So now I parted it with 1 inch from the parietal ridge a little bit above, and I want to preserve the length on the top that I've already cut, but I really want to decrease the length on the sides of the head. Because we're doing a fade after, I really like to put in the shape before I do the clippers, just so I see how it's going to lay and where I need to put my clippers. So then I'm just doing the same thing on the side. The reason I'm doing diagonal forward sections is because she's going to wear it forward. So I really want to encourage the hair, and I want to go with what the hair wants to do. If her hair naturally laid back, I would probably cut it back because that's where it wants to go. With the cut that she wanted to do a Mohawk, so I did diagonal forward sections. Now I'm starting to work towards the back of the head, and I'm pulling it out. My knuckles on my middle finger is touching the hair, and so I'm cutting it so it's shorter by my knuckles, and then it gets longer. So I'm pulling everything out from the center and doing that. So that way I'm preserving the length in the middle of the head in the back, and it'll be short enough for the clippers to just kind of fade into it. Now I'm working on the cowlick section. I want it to be really messy, so I'm cutting it to be a little bit shorter. I really wanted to see how it was going to lay and how it was going to behave. You know, some people have stronger cowlick patterns, and now I'm just blow drying it, how it's going to lay. And I want to do it in like a circular motion, because that's how the cowlick area is going to lay the most natural. So now I'm going to fade into it, and I'm using a 3-guard. So finger length for me fades really nicely into a 3, so I don't have to go back and refine the fade that I'm creating. And so I'm just following like the weight line that I just made with the diagonal forward sections and in the back. And so I'm just following that line with my clippers. Do the same thing on the other side. So she wanted to see skin, but she didn't want it too short. So I'm going in with a 1, and I'm creating a line below the 3, just to see how her hair is gonna lay with going shorter and shorter. She has really fine hair, and so I didn't want to go too short. I really want to see how the hair is gonna look with going to a 1. Now I'm just outlining the hairline with my trimmers. You really want to make sure that you're not digging into the scalp. You really want to do the corner of it. And then I'm just following the hairline, going down, creating that Mohawk shape so it kind of tapers back to that tail. You really want to make sure that the client's head is where you need it to be. You're doing their hair. You're doing people's hair, 10 times a day. and they're only there for like 30 to 45 minutes. So they can move their head if you need to see the haircut better. You really want to make sure that you're looking at the fade, not from above. You want to look at it like straight on so you can actually see what the fade is doing. If you look at it from above, you're going to see little shelves of hair. And so you really want to make sure that you're looking at it with sufficient light and straight on. You know, different hair is going to act differently, right? So you're not going to be able to do the same techniques on different types of hair. That was a big learning curve for me when I first started doing hair. I would do the same haircut and people would have different types of hair and it would look so different. And I struggled a lot with it until I figured out, I was like, oh, finer hair shows skin a lot easier than thicker hair. So you have to use longer guards with finer hair to make it look the same and to have that like nice balance of light and dark on the fade. So as you can see the lines that I've created, right? So I'm just taking out that that guideline that I made from the 1 to the 3. I really wanted to make sure that I knew how the hair was going to behave. So I'm not going to go in with a 0 to a 0.5 to a 1. I really want to make sure that I'm getting the shape and the look that I want. And so I'm really just refining it and making sure that I get that line out. And again, you don't want to scoop in because that will leave holes in the hair, especially with fine hair. So I'm using the corner of my blade as I'm showing you here. You know, I don't want to use, you know, the full teeth of the blade. I don't want to take out more hair than need be. So again, doing the same thing on the other side, just refining that line, taking that line out. So I have this nice flexible comb. It's awesome. It allows me to take out any line that I see and to really refine the fade without doing clippers. Clippers can take out a lot of hair if you want them to, and so it can be really intimidating. You know, I feel like with the comb, I have a lot more control with getting the fade exactly how I want it to look. And so I can bend it however I need it to bend, just so I can get the little tiny details in the fade. So I'm starting the C-cup, and I really like to start from the outside in. And I use my middle finger as the anchor point, just so I'm not, you know, winging it. I really want to make sure that it's really organized. And then I can go in from the inside out. Because if you're doing the long hairs, and you're going from the inside out first, it can catch and then it can leave some holes in the C-cup, which you really don't want. And then the same on the other side with the C-cup. And again, I'm using my middle finger as the anchor point, so I really have something to pivot on, which is very helpful. So now we're going to use open, no guard, taking out that taper line that we made. And I'm going into the corner of my blade just to take out that line that I see, just so it fades nicely into the Mohawk. You know, when you have light to dark, it really, really makes the style pop. So whether they're getting a bald fade or, you know, they want to leave some hair on the sides, I always encourage people to have a nice taper just so you have that light to dark contrast. And I'm just going down, like I'm going, you know, from open to 3 clicks up to 2 clicks up to 1 click up, just so I can see how the hair is going to respond to the clippers. I rarely start from 1 click to 2 click to 3 click and up, because you can always take more hair off, but you can never put it back on. And so if you do it too short, too high, then you're gonna have to push that fade higher. And especially with fine hair, you really want to preserve the length first, just so you don't push that fade too high. So same thing on the other side, tapering down, using the 3, then the 2, then the 1, then the closed. So I'm looking at the back of her hair and I'm seeing how her hair really wants to lay in the back, right? And I'm noticing that it's a little more dense on the right side of her hairline. So I'm gonna refine it just so it can look symmetrical. And that's the thing, right? It's like you can cut the same shape on, you know, every head. However, a good hair cutter, you really need to refine the shape just so it looks symmetrical. Even if you're doing an asymmetrical haircut, you want it to look, you know, symmetrical just so it looks on purpose instead of, oh no, you missed a spot. So looking at the bangs now, I want to do a little more textured, which is why I'm doing point cutting. And I'm pulling it out straight from the head. You know, she still wants to wear it to the side a little bit, so she really doesn't want like a too short of a bang. Because sometimes she wears it up and sometimes she pushes it to the side. So I really wanted to make it versatile for her. And then I'm just refining that shape with scissor over comb, getting out any dark spots that I see. So now I'm going to add some texture to the top. I'm using my foil shaver just so it's nice and clean. And then I'm using Colton King's pomade. It's still not out yet. I want it to be out so bad. It's so good. And it adds a lot of texture. So I really want to make sure that she likes the finished product. I'm going to style it how she wears it most of the time, just so she can see how it's going to look. I'm going to use some texture powder just to add a little bit more lift and pieciness to the top. As you can see, she's loving it already. And then I'll use my 4 guard just to make it a little cleaner and organized in the back. Nice. She's loving it. Yeah. Super stoked about it. All right, that's the final result. That's how I cut a mohawk. Hope you guys liked it. Leave some comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more haircuts.